Hey again, all you rock stars. What is really going on? You're indeed on the winning walk with Christina. And yeah, I slapped some French manicure nails on and I'm feeling cutesy and demure. As far as my nails, they don't look so bad now. Feeling much better, looking much more uniform, much more polished, much more professional. And I'm ready to meet the day. Hope y'all are having a wonderful week, wonderful day today, and that your weather hasn't been too bad. I hope you've had some sunny days and some times where you're able to soak in some sun and enjoy. We have just had, here in the South, we've had in the southernmost portions of the states around us has had so much really destructive weather, and I'm really keeping those people on the prayer list and just not taking them off, because going through tornadoes and floods and all of this sort of thing, and dealing with insurance companies who love to be silent and absent and very unhelpful during those times is a lot. It is extremely taxing and extremely stress inducing, and it's very, very hard. And there's just a lot of people going through right now having hard times, and they need our love, they need our grace, and they need our prayers. And where we can help, they need our help, because that's a lot to deal with. Going through cleanup after a tornado is tough. I've been there, I've had to do that, and it's nothing nice about it. So I extend all of my prayers to them, and I hope that y'all just take time, when they come up in your heart, to just pray for them, because that's a lot. But I didn't come on here for that. I came on here for episode 3 of the Hair of My People series, and I appreciate all of y'all's feedback. I'm enjoying this conversation, and as the Lord gives me more insights and wisdom, I may just continue this on Thursdays. I don't know, I'm not sure. If I'm anything, I'm consistently inconsistent, so don't hold me to that. But so far, I'm enjoying this series and the things that I find out about the hair of my people. So with that being said, I looked up some hair statistics because I was really interested on what we as a people spend on our hair, just our ethnic group, the African American group. How much money do we spend on our hair? And I looked for at least the 2024 statistics on that, Googled it and all of that stuff. I didn't think about Chat GPT. I may try Chat GPT and see what I find out about it, but I found some 2023 statistics. That's the most I could find. And for fashion overall in the African American community, it says that we spent in 2023 $2.5 billion with a B, just that year, in overall fashion. That's hair, that's clothes, that's shoes, that's anything pertaining to fashion, any adornment. We spent 2.3 billion with a B here in America. That's not nationwide. That's not worldwide. That was just America. $2.5 billion on fashion. But it said as far as what African American women spent on their hair for that year, $473 million. Million with an M. Just on our hair. Then it talks about, where our different hairstyles came from. And that goes all the way back to the motherland. It goes back to Africa. And the hair points to, it was like an indicator of a lot of things. During the slave trade, they used the hair and the beads and the things in their hair to signal escape routes or exit routes to meet different forms of transportation to flee the country. But your hair and the way it was coiffed, the style of it, pointed to your tribe, pointed to your social status, pointed to your family connections, pointed to your family's wealth. All of that was determined by the hair on your head. Hair also was thought to be a source of spiritual power. In the Yoruba culture, braided hair was a way to connect to their particular gods. They had their own system of gods and goddesses, and the particular ways your hair was braided pointed to, honoring that particular god or goddess. Many of the current beliefs that we have about our hair came out of the era of slavery, including this notion of texturism. Texturism is a belief that certain hair textures are better than others, due to their manageability, due to their porosity, due to their level of coarseness or thickness. The more hard to manage it was, the more cursed you were. The more they almost went so far at times, or they did go far in some cultures, to say that you were cursed and your bloodline had demonic activity in it because your hair was so thick and coarse. It wasn't looked upon as a blessing. The density of your hair was a thing of ridicule and scorn. So all of these things entered in to our way of thinking, and we're still influenced by a lot of it today. And it's caused a lot of the idolatry and the inordinate affection that we have toward our hair, which I said in the previous videos is transient. It's here today and it's gone tomorrow. You lose strands of hair every single day. Whether you brush your hair every single day or not, you lose strands of hair every day. But we have this really inordinate affection, I believe, to it. But this particular episode, we're going to focus, and I'm going to be real transparent about my hypocrisy. I'm gonna take the spotlight off of my mama and my grandmamas, and I'm gonna focus the spotlight of a critique on me, and I'm gonna rebuke myself for my own hypocrisy, because in this area I have been a hypocrite, and I will confess my hypocrisy today, and I will also proclaim my deliverance as well with the hypocrisy, because I've indeed been practicing hypocrisy, or I was practicing hypocrisy, but the Lord decided to deliver me and break that generational curse off of me. I call it next gen hypocrisy. It's one thing to rebuke your parents or point out where your mom and your grandmom and all that, y'all just got that wrong. That's just old school. Those are myths, and y'all were wrong for that, this, that, and the third. And my generation, we're gonna come and we're gonna correct you. And it's good to feel, pompous and pious and arrogant, like you know so much more than your parents. And when you do that, it's just like the Bible says, pride cometh before a fall, and a haughty, arrogant spirit before destruction. And that's what happened. That's what happened to me. I fell right in the trap with my pride and arrogance. I wasn't humble enough. And I didn't look at how I was conditioned and how powerful the conditioning was. So I felt like I was free and I had been delivered from the hair hypocrisy, and you know, I was at the point now where I was very liberal of hair, you know, as long as it was healthy. Do what you want to it. You know, if you want to cut it, cut it. If you want to grow it to the floor, grow it to the floor. Make sure that you keep healthiness about it, to where you can do whatever you want to it. So I was riding on that bandwagon. In fact, I had applied for the job of head driver, and I was in the driver's seat, and bringing, you know, free your mind and your hair will follow and all this foolishness, and so I was just all in with that and was good with it until Kadri got of age. Kadri always has had waist length hair. We would trim it. It was always raven black. It was jet black, and it was to her waist. Her father took great pride in, and he would stick his chest out because he would tackle this hair. I would do her hair, but he would watch me do it to the point where he started asking questions about it, and he himself began to do that, not because he particularly wanted to do hair. If you look at my husband, he's a man's man, okay? He's not a beautician, but it provided him a way to make sure his daughter went out the house the way he really wanted her to, looking. He was particular about her, how she dressed, and particular about how he wanted her to wear her hair. That was his baby girl, is what he called her, and he still does. That's his baby girl, and it was very important. It was very important to me too. Appearances and looking put together is important to me as well, but it was important to him too, because he remembers how much care his mother put into his sisters. He has 4 or 5 sisters. There's just a whole huge family, and it was just very important. You just didn't walk out the house looking crazy. So he would pick out her clothes, and he would get up most mornings. Some mornings he had to be at work earlier than others, but mostly back then he worked nights. So he would get up in the morning with her, and he would do her hair. And when I tell you he had it together, he had it together. I would buy different things for him and products to put on her hair and stuff, and she always looked pristine, and everybody assumed that I was doing her hair, but most of the times her father was doing it, and he took great pride in telling everybody at the daycare and at the elementary school, yeah, I did that this morning. It was a source of pride to him that he knew how to take care of his baby girl. If mama wasn't around to get it, he could get it. Ray Lewis is a man of many talents. But with that being said, you know, as long as she was, you know, young, it wasn't a big deal. She reached a point about, she was probably like 8 or 9, and the little girls in her class were getting bangs. I guess this is just a thing for, these cyber trucks is just like, ooh. Do y'all like those cyber trucks? I'm throwing something into the mix that don't belong, but I just cannot find the beauty in a Tesla Cybertruck. Give me a 3, or give me a S. That is sexy to me. But them trucks is just hideous. But anyway, Elon, let me finish what I was saying. But when Kadri was about 8 or 9, the girls in her class were doing a swoop bang like the Justin Bieber bang was banging. And so she wanted in on that action. And I looked at her hair, and it's to her waist and stuff. And I didn't even blink. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna give you a stingy bang, because you can cut a stingy bang yourself. It's no biggie. And so I did that, and she swooped. She swooped for about 3 weeks, and then it just grew back and blended in with her hair. And one point in time, she tried to cut the bang back and cut too high up, cut it all off, and 8, 9, 10, those are rites of passage. We all do that. I don't remember when I did it, but I'm sure I did. We all do that. I didn't blink. I just laughed, and when my mama saw her little Justin Bieber swoop bang, she was like, "No, you didn't. No, you didn't cut that girl's hair. Did you cut any more of it?" I said, "No, I didn't. She just wanted a stingy little Justin Bieber bang, so I let her have it." And so she did not talk to me, but she was not happy about that, because she felt about Cadra's hair the way she felt about my hair. So no cutting at all. Short of trimming, no cutting at all. But I didn't think nothing of it. I was just like, it's not no big deal. If Cadra wanted to cut it into a bob, I think I would have been open with that, or so I thought I would have been. But yeah, she was like 8, 9, whatever. It grew back in the blink of an eye, so whatever, no harm, no foul. So I went on riding this bus about free your hair, do what you want to with it as long as it's healthy, blah, blah, blah. I rode on this bus, or drove this bus, till Cadra was about 17, 16, 17. Then the hair dye came into the picture. this semi-permanent rinse that you got from the beauty supply, and the bleach to lighten the natural color of your hair came into the picture. And all of a sudden, you want to bleach it, lift it, and you want it to be pink, you want it to be purple, orange, green, red, yellow, purple. And I was just like, then my hypocrisy began to lift itself up off the page and really began to show itself. Because hey, you on the free your hair bandwagon, and as long as it's healthy, you can do what you want to with it. You want to dye? Go ahead. You want to cut it off? Go ahead. Remember? Hello? Is this thing on? You remember? Her hair is healthy. She's 17, almost 18. She's been an honor student since she was 8 or 9 years old. She's worked the job since she was 14 or 15 years old. This is a responsible, God-fearing young woman. She's not partying. She ain't smoking. She ain't drinking. She's not all into the sexual things that her friends are. The things they're doing, she's not. She's not perfect, but she's not there. And when you were her age, you were there. Just short of the dyeing of the hair and the cutting it off, you were there. But she's not. But the hypocrisy starts showing, because I, in that moment, became my mama. No! Why are you doing that? Don't do that. Don't. And she would tell me every time, Mama, I want to do that. Nope, I don't want you to do it. So normally she would abide by my wishes, and she just wouldn't do it. I tried distraction. Oh no, we can get wigs, we can do this, we can do that, we can get you different color ones, but you don't want to mess up your hair, you don't want to mess up the texture, just presenting all of these counter arguments to save her hair. I just don't want it to thin out and which all sounds good, but it's showing hypocrisy. It's showing hypocrisy. I would spend my money to make sure that her hair was taken care of, but she was working and she would spend her money and have the best things. And she would go to the beautician regularly. So her hair was fine to pretty much do whatever she wanted to with it. She was 17, becoming a young adult, and I needed to step aside and let the Lord have his way, right? Right, but did I? No! Don't do that, Cadra. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't dye your hair. It's so faddish. You're set apart. You're different. Don't do that. She wanted it. What color was it? I think it was I'm trying to think of the first color she colored her hair. I think it was like green or something. I think it was green. She went to the beauty supply because she asked me. She said, "Isn't this pretty?" I said, "Yeah, it's pretty for a shirt or a pair of pants or something, but not for your hair. Don't do that." She went and she got some bleach because see, at this point, all of her friends were doing it. They'd already done it, and she was the oddball out. She went and she got some bleach from the beauty supply. She got the green that she wanted. She went, she bleached her hair, she dyed it. She did not ask me. She didn't care if I approved. She didn't care if I would be upset. She didn't care if I was mad. She didn't care she did not care because that's what she wanted. She was working, doing what she had to do at school, was about to graduate. And this is what she wanted to do to her hair. And so she rebelled against me and defied my command. And she did it. She did it. And she looked like a Smurf. She looked like a Smurf. I was in mourning. I was heartbroken that she would do that. But she was on top of the world. She had something that she was proud of that she did. That didn't, by the way, hurt a thing. Semi-permanent and all that stuff. And again, her hair was well taken care of. And she didn't damage her hair when she did it. It was what she wanted to do. She paid for it, and mama, step aside, grow up, stop being so hypocritical, because that's what it was. It was hypocrisy. I didn't want her to die, not because it was bad. I didn't want her to die because I didn't want her to. You know, this is what I got when I was younger. I'm your mama and I said so. It doesn't have to make sense. Just because I told you no, then that's what you need to do. Because I said so. And it was a because I said so moment. So, it's dyed. It's green. She got it up in Mickey Mouse ponytails. And to my chagrin, much as I hated to admit it, she looked really cutesy and demure. She looked like a 17-year-old, and she looked cute, and it was healthy. And she kept it up till she changed her mind about it, what have you. Didn't really hurt anything at all, because Cadra has always had the hair of life. She could pretty much do what she wanted to with it, and this is what she decided to do. I was absolutely heartbroken. I was heartbroken. But it never occurred to me to think about my mama and my grandmama every time I cut my hair off. It was that same kind of mourning, but all of this is conditioning. We are conditioned to think this way. Y'all, this is the shopping center behind where I live, or in front of where I live. They're getting ready to, I'm sorry to keep taking breaks in between, but I'm just really interested in what they're getting ready to do. And now that we know, I'm excited about what's to come. This is going to be a new strip that's gonna be kind of like an Asian market, and I am excited about some of the shops and restaurants and stuff they're gonna put up in here. It's gonna be extremely nice, and it's supposed to be done by the end of this year. They've had to gut it and do some things to it right away because unfortunately our homeless community found their way into it. It was an old Sears, and they found their way into it and they were living there. So the police had to keep coming and pulling them out, and so now they're redoing it, and that's what this is going to be. But back to what I was talking about. My hypocrisy had really started to and I did not connect it. That's just how subtle the devil is. You think you are free and delivered, and you are good to go to where you feel arrogant enough to preach to and rebuke other people for something that you feel totally delivered from, not realizing you got one foot still in the trap and you don't even know it. I mean, to the point where you're preaching this deliverance message, and yeah, I was free, da 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 da, giving dates and places and all of that stuff, not realizing that your foot is still in the trap. And mine was. It was in the trap. I wasn't delivered, I just thought I was. And Kadri showed me my full hypocrisy. That was one instance of hair dyeing. And so her friends were going to different colors, and Kadri began to go to different colors. And every time she would change colors, there would be a fight. But to my chagrin, every time she changed colors, her hair got nicer and nicer. It was cuter and cuter. And it would just tick me off because it never was, it didn't shed, it didn't fall out, it didn't do any of that stuff. It was cute, but I was mad. Why you gotta have it that color? Why I gotta be pink? Why I gotta be green? Why you gotta have it da 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 da? It's self-expression. It's something that her friends was doing that she wanted to do. She liked how she looked. She was paying for it, but she was also paying for the maintenance for the styles. And I would be mad, her grandmother would be mad, and we would just sit up there with our lips poked out. Now, I'm rebuking grandmama for how she acted every time I cut my hair, but I could not see the hypocrisy in that we were sitting in the same boat. It was about me cutting my hair, but it was about Kadri dyeing her hair. It was the same hypocrisy. But no, I'm holier than thou, and I can see where she's wrong, but I can't see where I'm wrong. I'm not weighing any of that. Well, that was something. Now, Kadri was getting ready to graduate from high school. This was her senior year, 2020, okay? And she was graduating, and we were extremely proud because we had, Kadri always has had a brilliant mind, and she's kind of like her mom as far as having a lot of affinity for a lot of different things, and really having to pray for direction to focus on one or two particular things. She has an affinity for a lot of stuff, and so we were excited about her graduating, and this is our first and only, and it was just a blessing. We were going back through old pictures and stuff, and and we were excited. By this time, I felt like she had gotten all of the color. She had went through the whole color wheel, and I felt like she had gotten the color wheel out of her system. So I was just like, because she had let her hair grow back out, and she was letting her natural color come back in. I was just like, and so the coily curls was coming back in, and it was just silky, and it was so pretty. She had a little curly bob. It was kind of to her shoulders, and it was super cute. And she was letting it grow back in, and I said, okay, these are gonna be some pretty. Well, it wasn't a curly bob, it was more than a bob. It was almost like an afro. And she took her senior pictures, and on her senior pictures, you can see it. It was, we were catching it, trying to fit that cap, her miter, over this afro, but we got it, pinned it down, and I said, oh, her senior pictures are gonna be so pretty. The other ones where she's dressed up are gonna be really pretty. At this time, she was taking her senior year. She took a course in cosmetology, how to do your hair, how to do your nails, how to do your makeup, that sort of stuff. And I was and I was just like, okay. And so probably a week before the pictures and all of that stuff came out, before she was going to take, because they took, early at the beginning of the year, they took the cap and gown portion of those pictures, and then a little bit before graduation, I think right after the prom, or the prom was going to be because they canceled it, they set up for like the more formal pictures. And so right before those formal pictures, which by the way, they canceled those too because of 2020 and what happened. Right before those, Kadri in her cosmetology class decided to cut off her afro to finger wave length, which is extremely short, and dye it this honey blondish color, which turned into a like strawberry blonde color on her, because she had like auburn or reddish undertones to her natural hair, and probably all of the other different colors she had dyed it, and it turned into a strawberry blonde. She came home with that, patting her head, feeling like she looked amazing, and she looked good, but my full hypocrisy came out. Girl, what did you do? You cut off all your, oh my God. But then it hit me. The Holy Ghost was like, see, this is do you hear yourself now? Do you hear the hypocrisy? Do you hear how you shouldn't say anything else to your mother? Do you see how invested you were in her hair beyond the norm? Do you see that she's 18? Do you see that? Do you see where you are? Do you understand how your mother felt? You get it? Your mother, your grandmother, do you see? And see, now it's you. Now it's you. Now it's you. I want you to acknowledge that. I want you to acknowledge that. Some of the things that you believe that you are free from, that you've been delivered from and you feel arrogant about proclaiming, you may very well be free from it. But then again, you may be like me. Time and chance hasn't happened yet to show you the hypocrisy and that you still have one foot in the trap. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. But in retrospect, I see it. It is that inordinate affection. For us, it was hair. It was hair. For me, at a certain point in time, it was not only hair, it was my weight. It was my figure. I had an inordinate affection towards what I weighed and began to be arrogant and cocky about it. And the Lord had to deal with me on that. Idolatry is a multi-pronged demon. You can idolize anything and anybody. And it's extremely easy to do because we are vessels that God created for worship. We were created to worship. We weren't created to do all the things we do. We were created to bring glory to God and give glory to Him. We're created to worship Him and only Him. But because we are created to worship, period, we struggle and wrestle with idolatry. We wrestle with making people, places, and things our idols. We all do. We have inordinate affections that we develop toward people, places, and things. It's not a African American thing. It's not a Caucasian thing. It's not an Asian thing or a Hispanic thing. It's a people thing. Every people group has idolatry in it. It's so subtle sometimes and so low key that we miss it. But we all have it. And we all fight against it. And so I really had to really seek deliverance on it. To be free of it. Because at that point she was a young adult and now she is an adult. It's her hair. It's her choice. It's her responsibility to keep it healthy. While she does whatever it is she does. And I have to let my expectations of whatever it is she does go. Or I will continually be in turmoil with every move she makes. It's a detachment that has to happen. I can't idolize her hair. I cannot. I can have preferences all day long, but I can't hold on to her or penalize her or be angry with her because of what she decides to do with her hair or her life. I'm in an advisory place. When Daddy was doing baby girl's hair, we weren't on the advisory board. We were the food, clothing, and shelter board. We were parenting. We were parenting, and the decisions were solely ours. We were paying for things and taking care of her and her health and all of that. But she is an adult. And what she does, she does. And I have to step aside and let the Lord have His way. And it was then I experienced real hair deliverance. There are still some things I struggle with. Some things, but not about her hair, more about mine. But it's not really a struggle. But I can say now that I am delivered. I'm delivered. I mean, with everything she's done to her hair, and by the way, it did not ever, it was not ever really damaged. She, like I said, she has the hair of life. She can pretty much do whatever to it, and it's okay. So I never had to worry about it. It was just more of a control and power issue that was passed down to me. You do as I say, period. Don't ask me nothing, and don't try to tell me anything. I'm your mama, and that's just the end of it. And all of that's great when you are raising a child. They don't know right from wrong, and you're responsible for them. But after a certain age, you're not responsible for them as much as you are to them. You become an advisor. You're on the advisory board, but you overreach in power when you try to impose your will on your child based on what you want, just forcefully. And we're not talking about an illegal thing or an immoral thing. We're talking about a preferential thing. That's an overreach of power. Let me cross this street. But that is it for this topic of discussion. I would love to hear what y'all have to say. Do you find yourself needing hair deliverance, or have you always been free to do whatever you wanted to with your hair and everybody else? I would just like to hear from the completely free people. What was it like growing up, not worrying about your hair at all, being able to do whatever you wanted to with it whenever you wanted to? What was that like? I would love to hear viewpoints on that. But this video has been long, and like I say, I appreciate your comments. Keep them coming. Keep the thumbs up coming. I love you, rock stars, and I hope that you have an amazing rest of your week.